Rickie, how would you kind of characterize the round today?
Um, it's tough out there, so did a lot of good stuff. I feel like kind of kept it just moving forward. You can move back very quickly out there, so made a good up and down for actually bogey on my second, and kind of kept going from there. Just tried to piece my way around as best as possible. Started getting fairly similar to last week as far as if you're not playing from the fairway, you're really not hitting the green unless there's some way you can run it. But yeah, I feel like we just managed our way around well and had some good solid up and downs to keep things moving.
What was maybe the best part of your game today in those conditions?
Probably patience and just accepting kind of what I had, and I was wasn't swinging great by any means, but tried not to necessarily fight it and just move forward. You know, it's a bit dicey. It's a fine line. I mean, you see some high scores, some low scores. You drive it well, you can score, but if you get out of position, you can have a very long day out there.
Is that maybe the biggest difference for you this year from maybe last year is when you're not swinging it well, you're able to score?
Yeah, just much more being able to go out and play golf and get it around. Short game's better than where it was. Putting's better than where it was. Obviously, everything is better than where it was. But when I have days that I'm, maybe a little off with driving the ball or irons, usually have something that helps me make up for that. Where in years past, I feel like, putting was something I was always able to lean on, or short game, and that wasn't something that was able to save me for a few years.
Now, from an emotional standpoint or confidence standpoint, how much does that help you knowing that, you don't have the issues maybe you had a year ago or 2 years ago?
Oh, it's huge. That's what's probably been the biggest thing. Last fall and then especially this calendar year is weeks where very rarely are we ever lights out and playing at 100%. You're always, something is maybe a little bit off, but having some, maybe if a couple areas aren't the best, and just being able to get around and turn those into made cuts and top 20s or top 10s. Last week I was right around the cut line and had a solid weekend, and all of a sudden I turned that into a top 10 where I'm, at one point I think maybe just one inside the cut line. So yeah, you get a lot more confidence out of those weeks when you're bringing below average game and hanging around, and then able to take advantage of when you get opportunities.
Harris English said that last week there was a point where you didn't even know where to aim anymore. Did you feel that way there, and could you see that coming about here, the way the conditions are starting to get harder and harder?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be playing from the fairway, and there's a lot of times like last week, and there'll be plenty of times this weekend where you're not even worried or thinking about where the pin's at. It's you're going to get some opportunities where you're going to be able to get it close or take advantage of the par fives, but there's going to be plenty of holes where you're just trying to hit it on the green, two putt, and get away.
How patient were you, Rickie, as you were working from where you weren't playing so well to where you are now, getting better?
Yeah, I would say there were definitely tough times. It's never easy, but had to look at it as a challenge, and knew that it was something that it's going to be worth it when we get through this and get on the good side. Everyone goes through tough times and struggles. It's just part of it. Maybe sometimes it's not 2 or 3 years, but yeah, it's much more kind of looking for some light at the end of the tunnel, and always trying to be optimistic, and at least knowing that there were a lot of good things. Unfortunately, I felt like I was very close a lot of times and just not getting anything out of it. So yeah, it's something that wears on you mentally. So having some good people around you, whether it's peers, other players, good friends, family, coaches, and we're all on the same team at the end of the day, just trying to move forward and get better.
Who's your biggest support voice? Wife doesn't count.
I was going to say, outside of wife and family, you know, really, I mean, everyone that's on the team, from, you know, the time working with Tillery to Joe when he was on my bag, to, you know, my agents, but, you know, JT and Jordan were always there, Duffner as well. So, yeah, it's awesome when you have, you know, guys that, you know, do the same thing day in and day out, because they're the ones that, you know, truly understand how it is.
What did Duffner do for you?
I mean, he's just always there. I mean,
Technical side of anything with Duff?
yeah, I mean, Duff is probably one of the most knowledgeable, and I would say swing and really the golf swing and how everything works. And so, you know, we play a lot of practice rounds together, stay together quite a bit, and yeah, he was someone that was great to have in my corner, and, you know, either bounce ideas off or just, you know, get some words of wisdom.
Is there a point where optimism is turned into expectations for you?
I think as a player, the expectations are always there. I would say, as far as, you know, expectations and the pressure we put on ourselves is much more than anything outside. And I think that's partly how it should be. If you don't have that belief and, you know, expectation of yourself, yeah, you're probably not in a good spot.
So when you were at the lowest points, did you still expect, when you rolled into an event each week, did you still expect to do something positive?
No, there were plenty of times where it was more go in and kind of hope for the best or see what we had. You know, very different situation than where I am now, where I know what I'm capable of. And I would say, even in the last few years, I knew what I was capable of, but it was, you know, am I going to be able to produce that or execute? So there were definitely some tough times. That was where I said it was the mental side of it. But yeah, it's hard because, you know, you see, you know, I would say the results at home or what you're working on, and it's just trying to carry that over to tournament golf. Yeah, there's a very big difference from, you know, playing well anywhere else versus showing up and when it really matters and playing well.
Putting a pencil in your hand, you mean?
When there's no eraser and you got to put down a score, that's yeah, unless you've done it, it's a different animal out here.
I think he's suggesting you have an eraser, Alex.
No, he's just suggesting unless you've done it, and I have not. He knows that.
Thanks, Rick.
Yeah,
Thanks, Ricky.
you got it.